You've probably heard about 6G, right? The next generation of wireless tech that promises a future straight out of a sci-fi movie. But hiding behind that incredible promise is a huge crisis, a fundamental challenge that could honestly stop 6G before it even gets started. Welcome to A World with AI. Today, we are diving deep into the impossible power of 6G and the three revolutionary breakthroughs that might just be its saving grace. So let's just paint a picture here. Imagine a world with truly immersive extended reality. Holographic calls that feel like you're in the same room, and entire digital copies of cities that mirror reality in real time. That's the 6G vision, a planet where our physical, digital, and even biological worlds all merge together, powered by a massive Internet of Things connecting, get this, trillions of devices. I mean, it sounds absolutely incredible, doesn't it? But a world this connected comes with a colossal appetite for energy. The sheer scale of this ambition creates a problem so huge, it threatens the entire project. So what is the hidden cost of building this future? And that leads us right into our first major topic, the 6G energy dilemma. Because before we can even get to the cool solutions, we really have to wrap our heads around the size of the crisis we're trying to prevent. Okay, this curve right here, it basically tells the whole story. As our network capacity just skyrockets with every new generation, our current tech means that energy consumption follows it right up that exponential path. Without a complete redesign from the ground up, the power draw of 6G would be an environmental catastrophe, and frankly, just way too expensive to run. And let's put some real numbers on that. We're not talking about just some small incremental improvements over 5G. No way. Just look at these targets. Peak data rates of 1,000 gigabits per second, supporting 10 million devices in a single square kilometer, and latency so low you can't even perceive it. These are massive, orders of magnitude leaps that demand a totally new way of thinking about power. To really put this in perspective, the entire information and communications technology sector, that's your internet, your phone, all of it, already uses a staggering 5 to 9% of all the electricity on the planet. 6G is on track to make that number just explode. So the billion-dollar question is, how do you build this incredible future without completely breaking our planet's energy budget? Well, the answer seems to lie in three revolutionary pillars. So let's start with our first solution, Pillar 1, the AI brain. This isn't about building more power plants. It's about making the network itself radically more intelligent. You see, the sheer complexity of 6G, with its massive antenna arrays and hybrid satellite networks, is going to be flat out impossible for humans to manage. We're talking about decisions that have to be made at the microsecond level, and that's exactly why 6G is being designed from the start as an AI-native network. AI isn't just going to be some feature bolted on. It's going to be the network's central nervous system. So how does this AI brain actually save energy? Well, think of it like a master conductor of an orchestra. It anticipates traffic patterns, so it knows exactly when to power up and when to power down. It dynamically sends resources only where they're needed in real time. It can put entire sections of the network to sleep when they're not being used and wake them up in an instant. It's all about being incredibly ruthlessly efficient, right down to the last milliwatt. Which brings us to our second pillar. And this is where things get really wild. We're moving from artificial intelligence to synthetic biology. Yeah, you heard that right. And look, this isn't some sci-fi fantasy. This quote is from actual peer-reviewed research. Scientists are developing what they call biohybrid base stations. The core idea is to create a living infrastructure that literally powers itself, which would reduce or maybe even get rid of the need to connect to a conventional power grid at all. So how on earth does it work? It's actually a surprisingly simple three-step process. First, you feed organic waste into the system. Second, microbial fuel cells inside the base station use enzymes to break all that waste down. And third, that biological reaction generates clean electricity to power all the network hardware. It's basically a self-sufficient, carbon-neutral telecom system. Amazing. Okay, so we've dealt with the network's brain and its body. Our final pillar goes even deeper, all the way down to the smallest possible scale, the quantum level. Let's talk about the quantum engine. This one solves a different but just as critical problem. The whole 6G vision includes trillions of tiny sensors and devices, what experts call zero-energy devices, or ZEDs. But most of them will be too small or just too many of them to have their own batteries. So, how in the world are you going to power all of them?
Well, the answer lies in a wild new class of quantum materials called topological insulators. Now, stay with me on this. The best analogy is a loaf of bread. The inside of the bread is a perfect insulator, no electricity can pass through. But the crust? The crust is a perfect superhighway for electricity. And that bizarre property lets them harness a quantum phenomenon called the Nonlinear Hall Effect to literally pull power out of thin air by converting the 6G radio waves all around them into usable electricity.
And this comparison right here shows why this is such a monster breakthrough. The tech we use now, classical diodes, they're kind of lazy. They need a minimum amount of power just to wake up and start working, which makes them useless for harvesting these weak ambient signals. But these new topological rectifiers, they have what's called zero bias operation. They can harvest energy from the absolute faintest signals, all the way up into the super high terahertz frequencies that 6G is going to use. It is a complete game changer for powering tiny devices. And hey, don't make the mistake of thinking this is some far-off dream. This technology is on a very clear development path. We are already in the first phase with lab prototypes. The standards are set to be defined in the next few years, and that paves the way for a revolutionary rollout of these battery-free sensors by the early 2030s. This is happening.
So what happens when you combine all three of these pillars? The AI brain, the living network, and the quantum engine. You get something much more than just a new wireless standard. What you get is a new symbiosis, a whole new relationship between our technology and the natural world itself.
This diagram really captures that ultimate goal perfectly. A network that has AI-driven intelligence, living in a physical space that's powered by biology, and connecting a digital cyberspace filled with quantum-powered devices. It's the seamless fusion of reality, connectivity, and intelligence into one single cohesive system. Of course, there are still some major hurdles to clear. We have to figure out how to scale up the production of these new materials. We definitely have to address the biosecurity and ethical questions that come with deploying living technology out in the world. And, society itself has to be ready for this, from public acceptance all the way to new regulations. The tech road is getting clearer, but the social road still needs to be paved. Which leaves us with one final and pretty profound question. See, 6G isn't just about faster downloads on your phone. It's about fundamentally merging the things we create digitally with the biological and quantum fabrics of our reality. And as that line keeps getting blurrier and blurrier, what will it ultimately mean to be human? Something to think about. That's all for this explainer. Thank you so much for joining us on A World with AI as we explored the truly incredible future of 6G. Hey, if you found this explainer as fascinating as I did, please give it a like. It really helps support our work, and share it with someone who needs to see what's coming. We'd absolutely love to hear your thoughts down in the comments below. And of course, don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you never miss our next deep dive into the world of AI and future tech. Thanks for watching.